Grand Rising, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen AHMADIYYAH'S show. I'm your host, Queen AHMADIYYAH'S, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you enjoy the commentary, be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so that you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. You can follow me on Instagram at Queen AHMADIYYAH'S. You can also follow the Queen AHMADIYYAH'S fan page, and you can follow me on Twitter at DGoddess27. All right, so let's get ready to get back into it. Hello, Lloyd, T. Woodard, Nene Nose, Yusuf, Bree, King Yahab, Queen Candy J, Phyllis, Omari is in the house, Kathleen, Water Sniper, good to see you, beloved, Jeff ATL. All right, Aeon is Black, Capricornus, Ren, okay, Cherokee to Citadel, I see you, Michael M, Nebula 4, Melanated Brown, Stacy, Black Mama is Black. All right, so let's get into it. Shout out to everyone in the chats. Hello, Dervis, Jim. Shout out to everyone in the chat, especially my moderators. And shout out to everyone tuned into the Queen. So let's get into it. First things first, honey, let's talk about Patrice Kahn colors. All right. Let's talk about it because I am so sick and tired of this woman trying to mansplain what happened to all that money and donations. Okay. Now, she's still trying to act as though the money wasn't used for her personal benefit and all of that, and saying that, in fact, they purchased property and all those things. So she was interviewed just days ago by the Associated Press, and this is what she had to say. Former Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation leader Patrice Cullors said in a recent interview that allegations that the organization's leadership misused millions of donations is false. All right, that's what she said. It's false. They didn't misuse those millions of dollars worth of donations, she says. Now, in an interview with the Associated Press, Cullors said that Black Lives Matter was not prepared for the high volume of financial contributions that came in the aftermath of the death of George Floyd in 2020. She says, on paper, it looks crazy. We use this term in our movement a lot, which is we're building the plane while flying it. I don't believe in that anymore. The only regret I have with BLM is wishing that we could have paused for 1 or 2 years to just not do any work and just focus on the infrastructure. Now, recent disclosures found that the foundation paid $6 million for a Los Angeles compound in 2020. The Studio City property includes a home with 6 bedrooms and bathrooms, a swimming pool, a soundstage, and an office space, and is intended to be both a meeting venue and a campus for Black artists. Now, but BLM received backlash, or shall I say backlash, from following the purchase, including from some of the organization's supporters. Now, Justin Hansford, director of the Thurgood Marshall Civil Rights Center at Howard University, said that the purchase could be used by opponents of BLM and that possible donors may halt contributions to Black-led social justice organizations, saying that's the thing that you don't want to get out of hand. That's what he told the outlet. Now, Cullors, however, stands by the purchase. She told the AP, she says, we really wanted to make sure that the Global Network Foundation had an asset that wasn't just financial resources. And we understood that not many Black-led organizations have property. They don't own their own property. Now, the 38-year-old said that she made regrettable mistakes that do not ensure trust and even admitted to using the property for personal reasons. Yet she rejects the idea that she personally benefited during her 6-year tenure as leader of BLM. That includes reports that she bought homes for herself and her family. She says the idea that the foundation received millions of dollars and then I hid those dollars in my bank account is absolutely false. That's a false narrative. It's impacted me personally and professionally that people would accuse me of stealing from Black people. Well, I'm going to say this. I'm not going to say she stole from Black people because she was given that money. BLM was given that money in the form of donations. What she did was she misappropriated the funds. All right. Now, that's not exactly the same thing as stealing, but it's right around the corner from stealing. Okay. So what she's trying to do is use semantics. Oh, I wasn't stealing from black people. No, you didn't really steal from black people. What you did do is you kept all the donations given to you that people gave to you in the hopes that you would help black people whose family members had been murdered unjustly, right? Unjustly. She kept that money for herself and the other people in the organization at the end of the day. And she's trying to make us think that none of that money went towards her own personal benefit. Honey, how else could she have afforded those mansions? Now, here's the thing. I don't have a problem with the fact that they purchased one property for them to hold their meetings and conduct business at. I don't have a problem with that because that's something that I think should be done when you have an organization, a nonprofit or whatever. I think that's what should be done. Some of the money should be allocated for that. You see, Caucasians do it all the time with their nonprofits. So I have no problem with that. I have a problem with the fact that the rest of the money that they received, and as I told you all last year, in 2020, they received in excess of $90 million. Okay, so if you took out of that 90 million and you spent 5 or 6 getting a property for them to meet at and all that stuff, okay, that's one thing. But the fact of the matter is, the problem that I view is that they didn't give any of that money and donations that they received to the families of the victims, such as George Floyd, right? Breonna Taylor, Tamir Rice, Michael Brown. I'm just saying. They didn't give money to those people, did they? Of course they didn't. And that's why people are talking trash. That's why people are upset. That's why we're saying and accusing them of misappropriating those funds. Now, what they did do, as I showed you the proof of receipts, was they gave a significant amount of that money that they collected to political campaigns, which I'm sure the people who donated that money, specifically the black people who donated, did not have that in mind when they gave their money. Okay, I'm quite sure they were given the money with the understanding that it was going to go to the families of the victims who were slain unjustly by police officers. That's what I'm sure they thought. Not that she was going to be giving it to Act Blue. Not that it was going to be used for political campaigning. Not that they thought or knew Joe Biden would be the #1 vendor connected to all this, and that Bernie Sanders would be the second. I'm just saying, honey, she needs to make it all make sense and stop trying to explain, because at the end of the day, I'm not buying it, and neither should any of you. Neither should any of you. All right? Eileen says, true that, Queen. I agree. Thank you, beloved. Okay, Geraldine said, if I see her sporting Gucci, she's guilty. Honey, she has a whole mansion. All right? She has a whole mansion. And she wants us to think that none of that money came from those donations. Please. Okay? Aeon said, at least help the black community with the money. Exactly. Now, if she just done that, I wouldn't be complaining, nor would I have bothered to expose them. But that's the very reason I did it, because I saw that none of this money seemed to have been going to the places or the people that we thought that it was going to. Okay? Which further proves my point, as far as I'm concerned, that Black Lives Matter is a whole global sham. All right? Black Lives Matter Global Foundation Network. Please miss me with it. It's not for black people's best interest. It absolutely isn't. Though I agree with the term and phrase Black Lives Matter, because they do. And in fact, all our lives matter. And we know that. But until black lives really matter, we can't say all lives matter. Right? So, honey, she needs to sit down somewhere. Honey 69 said, what rock do she think we just crawled out from under? Okay, please, honey. She can tell that game to somebody who's buying it, because clearly we're not. Now, listen to this. Now, this is a bit of good news, okay? Because we all have to escape the monotony sometimes, honey. So Terrence Crawford, you all know the boxer Terrence Crawford. Well, his daughter went viral for winning a race, honey, a 200-meter race, despite losing her shoe at the start. Right as she's coming out the starting blocks, her shoe came off. She went back and got it, put it on, honey, and still won that race, honey. Talk about black girl magic. All right, let's talk about it. So the daughter of professional boxer Terrence Crawford has gone viral on social media after winning an extraordinary 200-meter race, despite losing her shoe at the starting block. So I'm going to show the footage. Everyone get those likes up, please like and share. please like and share if you enjoy the commentary. If you don't enjoy the commentary, ask yourself, why are you here? All right. If you're here to troll, I'm not in the mood for it today, so you will be dealt with expeditiously, as T.I. would say. All right. Honey says, Black girl magic at its best. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. The kind the queen talks about in her song, right? The melanin within. Because that's where we get our black girl magic from, honey. The melanin within. Pay attention. And that's where all black people get their magic from. Okay, black men have magic too. Let's not forget. All right. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share.
All right. Dang, I want to knock you.
She round her shoe. Go to Leia. Go Lay. Go Lay. Go Lay. Let's go Lay. Shut Lay. Let's go 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 to Leia. Come on, mama. Let's go to Leia. Let's go to Leia. Let's go to Leia. Let's go to Leia.
She ran out her shoe and had it.
Let's go.
She lost her shoe and.
Need I say anything more, honey? Need I say anything more? Let's remember Psalm 82:6. Ye are all gods, for ye are born of the Most High. That proves that. I'm just saying, honey. You can't dispute the facts when the facts are clearly in your face. All right? So with that all being said, now listen to this, honey. This is all so. Cherokee Descendant said she smoked them. Yes, absolutely she did. Now listen to this, honey. I thought this was so crazy. And so this just goes to show how some people have privilege, honey. Though they love to try to deny it. Indiana GOP candidate wins township primary despite being in jail after confessing to murder of cancer-stricken wife who he beat to death with concrete flower pot after she filed for divorce over his affair. Now, I want you to pay attention because, honey, this man is a whole demon. Now, this poor woman was sick with cancer, already dying, honey. All her hair gone. She's sick, feeling bad every day in and day out. He's out here cheating on her, not having her back while she's sick. That's what devils do. And at the end of the day, honey, he goes and kills her, beats her to death with a concrete flower pot. Who does that? Who does? This woman was already fighting for her life. I just want y'all to pay attention to the heinousness of it all. And then he's behind bars and wins a GOP primary. Somebody make it all make sense. Let me show you the devil before I go in on the story. Funny how the devils always look like devils too. Y'all notice that? How they always look like demons? Have those evil, wicked eyes with no soul behind them, not an ounce or inkling of humanity to be seen. Pay attention, beloveds. Also nefarious. There he is, the devil himself. That's his poor wife that he beat to death. Poor woman was already going through it. Then he gonna beat her upside her head with a door and flower. Who does that, honey? I absolutely cannot. Look at it. That's him. So let's talk about it. And how these people voted for him, I just have no clue. So an Indiana GOP candidate won a township primary despite being in jail for the brutal murder of his cancer-stricken wife who demanded a divorce on learning he'd been cheating. Now, Andrew Wilhoit, age 40, won 60 votes in the Republican primary for the Clinton Township Board election last week. Will Hoyt, who will now appear on the ballot, swept to victory, even though he's in jail awaiting trial for the March murder of his wife Nikki, who was 41 years old. He is said to have confessed to killing Nikki with a giant concrete flower pot, who is the mother of two of his three children. Honey, this is his children's mother, and he killed this poor woman, honey. Now, Nikki was beaten to death with a heavyweight garden ornament before her body was dumped into a creek, then disposed of the woman like she was trash. She had just completed chemotherapy treatment for cancer and was killed shortly after she asked her husband for divorce. Honey, this is also sad. It really is, honey. Can you imagine fighting for your life with an illness that can take you up out of here, and you're going to get treatment and all of that? You worrying about your children and you know what'll happen with them if you die and all this stuff. And then some fool that's supposed to be your husband, honey, who you clearly thought loved you once upon a time. Not only is he out here cheating, but now he's hitting you upside your head with a whole concrete pot to kill you. Anyway, I cannot. So she had just completed her chemotherapy. Now, it is unclear whether the 60 people who voted for Will Hoyt knew of the horrific allegations he faces, although he's still within his rights to run for the seat. See, because they don't care if you're a whole killer. You can still run. That's what you can do. But if you're a felon, you can't vote. How does that make sense again, please, people? Somebody tell me, because y'all remember that black woman, right, who was on probation and she went and voted. And then she was jailed and sentenced to 6 years. But then they took back all of that, right? And let her out. But the fact of the matter is they did arrest her for voting. But you can be a whole murderer accused of a horrific incident such as this and still have the right to run for a seat. Now, somebody tell me how that makes any sense. A felon can't vote, but a murderer can run. Wow. Y'all see how this country is so crazy and completely ass backwards? Excuse my French. Anyway, let me continue, honey, because I cannot. Now, voters in the rural town in Boone County, about 30 miles northwest of Indianapolis, were asked to select 3 names to fill the vacant seats in the township board. And Andrew was one of the only 3 Republicans running, according to Law and Crime. Now, let me tell y'all something. Now, here's the thing. They say they don't know if the people who voted for him actually knew of the horrific crime that he was accused of. Well, here's what I have to say about that. If they didn't know, that just basically proves that the law enforcement in that town was clearly on code with him, because that should have been all over the news, right? That should have been breaking news. That should have been a top trending story. So how could anyone not know? But let me continue. Voters in the rural town in Boone, out about 30 miles northwest of Indianapolis, were asked to select 3 names. Okay, and he was one. Now, his name will now remain on the ballot for the general election on June the 15th, unless he decides to withdraw his own name. Wow, so he gets a choice in the matter. Isn't this something? Are they going to let him run everything from behind bars after he's convicted too? Wow, make it all make sense. The nefariousness of it all. So under the Constitution, they say, an individual is presumed to be innocent until proven guilty of a crime. It is only if they are convicted of the crime that they may not serve in public office under Indiana law. The Constitution allows convicted criminals to run for office, but not to vote. How crazy is this? Like, it literally makes no sense whatsoever. The Constitution allows convicted criminals to run for office regardless of the seriousness of their offense. Although many states, including Indiana, have their own rules barring convicts from running. Now, it's really important for people to understand in Indiana, in all states in the United States, is the fact that being accused of a crime is very different than being convicted of one. Well, does it even really matter? Because they clearly said that you can run even if you're convicted of a crime in certain states. So anyway, a person loses ballot access in Indiana, in other words, the right to run or serve in public access if they are convicted of a felony. This is very different than being accused, because there is a presumption of innocence, which means that person very well may be found innocent and therefore be able to serve in office. Yeah. I bet a black person won't be able to do that. Right? Who they think they fooling? Anyway. So anyway, they go on to say, in the meantime, Will Hoyt will remain in jail until his trial, which is preliminarily scheduled for August 29th. He is due back in Boone County Superior Court May the 27th. Andrew was first arrested on March 26th, just hours after state authorities found Nikki's body submerged in a nearby creek, and Boone County Superior Court Judge Matthew C. Kincaid found probable cause for a murder charge against him 2 days later. Authorities say he began investigating Nikki's disappearance on March the 25th, when she didn't report to work. She and Andrew's 3 children, one of whom is Andrew's from a previous marriage, repeatedly tried to contact her, but her purse and phone were still at the house. Andrew told the sheriff's deputies who found him with scratches on his neck that they had gotten into a fight after she discovered that he was having an affair and that she was probably at her sister's house. One of their children also told police that Nikki routinely left the house when she was upset, and Andrew had admitted to hitting Nikki in the past. But when police found blood in the couple's master bedroom and bathroom and discovered that Nikki had filed for divorce from Andrew on March 17th, they called Indiana State Police to lead the investigation. They say, when our investigators realized this could be a possible homicide investigation, we wanted to discuss the best way to move forward with the investigation, since the mother of Andrew, Will Hoyt, is a county councilwoman, another county elected official. Isn't that something? The nepotism is real. Anyway, honey, there's that. Also egregious. So now let's talk about Judge Hatchett. I mean, this is all so terrible, honey. Who does this? Clearly him. Now, this happened in Cobb County, Georgia, and you all already know the nefarious things that go on in Georgia and Florida, honey, so I don't have to remind you. The Cobb County Solicitor's Office has officially charged a Georgia sheriff accused of groping a prominent former judge. Prosecutors say that former Blakely County Sheriff Chris Cootie, groped Judge Glenda Hatchett at a sheriff's convention earlier this year. So Channel 2's Cobb County Bureau Chief Michelle Newell spoke to Thomas Brown, the former sheriff of DeKalb County, who is listed as a witness in the incident. So, honey, I'm going to play that footage. Hold on. Let me roll it. Because this is all so crazy, honey. Now, I want y'all to pay attention. Because this man, Sheriff Chris Cootie, right? Could he do it? Yes, he did. He groped this judge, this black woman. And, he did it in front of people. There was witnesses. It wasn't like they were alone. He did this amongst other people. No one bothered to do or say anything because he has the complexion for protection. And with that all being said, he likely felt that he could do that because she was black. Because we already know that, there's a history of Caucasian men feeling that they can just blatantly disrespect and sexually objectify black women. I mean, that's going on since the plantations. And many of them still feel that way, but a black man better not dare to look at Carrie or Becky, right? Lest they be lynched. And I'm talking about back during Jim Crow and all that. But still, even to this day. I mean, we just saw the video footage the other day where another sheriff's wife, Karen, lied and said that a black man groped her, and then he was arrested. And it was all a lie. And they had footage to prove and show that it was all a lie. But they still locked that black man up. But this thug right here actually did grope this black woman, and nobody locked him up until quite some time later. Please pay attention, honey, because it was sheriffs all up and through that convention, and not a one of them bothered to lock him up. And just so you know, if you're a sheriff, right, in Georgia, you can lock somebody up no matter what county you're in, so it ain't got nothing to do with jurisdiction. They didn't lock him up because they was on code. Pay attention. Now I'm going to share the footage. Everyone, please like and share. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so that you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Thank you in advance, beloveds.
Chris Cootie is accused of groping the prominent Judge Hatchett at a sheriff's convention earlier this year. Well, now a man who witnessed the incident is speaking exclusively to Channel 2 Cobb County Bureau Chief Michelle Newell. Michelle is live in Marietta outside the courthouse. Michelle.
Yeah, Brown told me not only did he witness this, but he says he had to physically intervene.
I was angry, and my first reaction was to do a little more than just take his hand off of her.
Former DeKalb County Sheriff Thomas Brown sat down with us to talk about the day he says Bleckley County Sheriff Chris Cootie groped the prominent judge Glenda Hatchett.
She was there as my guest. I was upset. I was mad. He was obviously intoxicated.
The alleged incident happened at a sheriff's conference in Cobb County earlier this year. Brown says he was introducing Judge Hatchett to the sheriffs at the Renaissance Atlanta Waverly Bar. 3
sheriffs came over to the stand-up table. Sheriff Cooney being one, the president of the Georgia Sheriff's Association being the other, and then there was one other sheriff.
Brown says he turned his head away from Sheriff Cootie and Judge Hatchett as they were talking.
As I turned to my left to focus back on the two of them, I saw his hand go down on her left breast. I grabbed his arm, threw it off of her chest, and basically say, "What are you, adjective, think you're doing?" And that's basically where it ended.
Brown says he immediately removed Judge Hatchett from the room. The next morning, Brown says he had a stern conversation with Sheriff Cootie, who was later charged with sexual battery.
She's very passionate about telling her story at some point in time, if for no other reason for the hundreds of young ladies out there who may have been victims of some type of sexual assault, but have not said anything because they're afraid to do so.
We tried contacting Sheriff Cootie. Hi, this is Michelle Newell with WSB TV. Can I speak with Sheriff Cootie? We were told he wasn't available, but in a previous statement released after Sheriff Cootie turned himself in, Sheriff Cootie said he takes the charges seriously and will comply with all legal obligations placed upon him.
I'm a key witness, and I want the judicial system to be respected. And so at some point in time, I may have to say something in court. But I felt like I needed to say something because, the accusation is now out and it's unsealed.
I contacted the Georgia Sheriff's Association. A representative told me the board has not met since the alleged incident happened, but they plan on meeting next month, and they will discuss this. Reporting live, Michelle Newell, Channel 2.
Okay, clearly nefarious, honey. Clearly nefarious. I mean, the unmitigated gall of him. Like I said, honey, these devils just think they have all rights and access to black women. I want y'all to pay attention, honey. They really think that they do. Okay? And the fact that none of those other sheriffs bothered to even try to apprehend and arrest him when they absolutely could have is beyond me. All right? It's beyond deplorable. So anyway, hold on. There's another video. Hold on. Lights up, everyone. Please like and share. I almost forgot about this brief clip.
Right now, a Georgia sheriff's out of jail after posting bond tonight in Cobb County. This is a mugshot for Bleckley County Sheriff Christopher Cootie. He turned himself in hours ago. Yesterday, we traveled to Bleckley County, and his office told us he was on a mission trip. He is charged with sexual battery stemming from an incident at the same Renaissance Atlanta Waverly Bar on January 18th.
Pink Blue said, wonder if his family line had slave masters. Probably. Of course they did. Of course they absolutely did, honey. So this is just all so crazy. Okay. Reggie said, off topic, but Queen, did you ever find the video of the woman losing her mind after finding her man cheating? You know what, honey? I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot to look. I'll look for it today, beloved, okay? Also, thank you, Mr. X005, for your kind words, honey. I love you right, black, beloved. I absolutely do. Byron B said, nothing in those nefarious eyes of his. Right. Okay. The agitator says, hold on, let me go back. It says, so who else has he done this to? I mean, clearly he can't handle his liquor, and I'm sure he's been in other settings. So, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Let me tell you something. At the end of the day, here's the thing. He probably wasn't even drunk. Probably just acting as though he was. Honey. I'm sorry. I don't believe anything the devils do. He could have been drunk, but likely he wasn't. He might have had a few drinks, but he knew what he was doing. He knew absolutely what he was doing. And now he's talking about he takes the charges very seriously. I guess you should, because the charges are on you, boo, at the end of the day. But like I said, this, yes. Okay, Nebula Force says power trip. Absolutely. Okay? Absolutely. Miss African Root says barbarian. Okay? Off the Rex Clothing says this wasn't the first time. I don't believe it was the first time. Absolutely. Can you imagine how many people who were in his custody that he did that to? Can you imagine? I mean, if he would do this to a prominent judge, right? A public figure in front of other people, mind you, not even in private. Honey, who knows what he did behind closed doors to black women who were his, and white women too, I'm sure, who were his, in his custody. I'm just saying, honey, clearly a devil. Terry Hinn said, what a nasty pervert. Exactly. I mean, let me tell y'all something. First of all, the fact that he stuck his whole hand down this woman's, the front of her blouse, like what even made him just do that out of the blue? They were having a conversation. She was being introduced to him and others, and that's what he decided to do. Honey, let me tell you something. He had the right one, because some black women that I know would have knocked him in his face, would have kicked him in his growing, honey. All right? Now, but here's the thing. Had Judge Hatchett reacted like that to him, she would have been arrested. I can guarantee you that. One of those sheriffs there, oh, they would have arrested her. I guarantee you. Okay? But like I said, they always have felt and still continue to feel, many of them, that they have all access and full-on rights to touch black women, right? To harass and sexually assault and grope and all these other nefarious things to black women. That's what they do. Now, I'm not saying all of them, but I'm saying some of them absolutely feel that way. Absolutely feel that way. Because they feel like black women are to be disrespected. And I mean, at the end of the day, there's a lot of black men who disrespect black women. And so if black men are just blatantly disrespecting black women, well, what can we say about them? How can we complain about them, right? That's why I'm saying black people need to get on code, honey. That's absolutely why black women and men need to get on code. When you have these crazy, asinine, foolish black women who are out here talking down on black men and allowing Caucasian men to chime in the conversations and talk about black men too, talk down on black men, and then and vice versa. When you have black men who sit here and talk down on black women and just put black women down and all of that, and then they sit there and allow Becky's and Karen's to also chime in and talk down on black women. See, that's why our community is effed up. That's why it's all mucked up, just so you know. Because nobody's on code. Nobody's on code. Everybody's just running amok, doing whatever, saying whatever. One black person does something wrong to you. One black man treats you bad. Now you hate all black men and you want to go bash them. One black woman does you wrong, wants to take you for your money, don't really care about you, just uses you like you're a Kleenex and then discards you afterwards. And now you're mad at all black women. You want to go and bash all black women. That's how some of y'all really think. That's what some of y'all really say. That's how some of y'all really feel. That's why Kevin Samuels and Tommy Sotomayor has such mass followings. Because a lot of black people feel that way. And although I have to agree that some of the things that both Kevin Samuels and Tommy Sotomayor said about black women are absolutely true. But those things are not true of all Black women. And that's why I resent the fact when people speak that way and talk in general, broad terms and don't say specifically that this is a certain portion or these are select few, or that this doesn't represent my thoughts on them collectively. And the same applies for Black women who go in on Black men. When they want to generalize all Black men, like all Black men are no good. Honey, if you think all Black men are no good, that's because you never had a good one. And if you never had a good one, that's because you have poor taste and make bad choices and decisions. It is what it is. If you never had a good Black man and you've dated Black men, well, then you pick them. And so if you never had a good one and you think all Black men are bad, then that's on you, boo. And vice versa, the same goes for Black men, honey. If you think that all Black women are so bad and all of them just want money and they don't care nothing about this, that, and the third, and they're all thirst traps and all that stuff, that's because that's the kind of Black women you've always had. That's the kind you've always chosen. And so you have no one to blame but yourself. But do not, by any stretch of your imagination or mine, blame all Black women for your own foolish, poor choices and decisions. I know they say everything happens for a reason, but sometimes the reason is because you're stupid and you make poor choices. That's facts. So for all those who want to collectively condemn Black men, and for all of those who want to collectively condemn Black women, please take a look at yourself and realize and know that any no good person that you dealt with in your life, no matter the race or ethnic group, any no good person that you dealt with in your life for any period of time in a relationship, whether it was platonic or intimate, you chose to do so. You picked them. So my advice to you, beloveds, is to have better judgment, to make wiser decisions. That's all I'm saying. To try to be better judges of character and know and realize that when you first meet people, sometimes people send their representative to greet you. Not the real them. The real them doesn't show up. They often send their representative to greet you and meet you, and then months later, the real them shows up. And that may not be who you expected. Another thing that you need to do is you need to stop answering the question, and this goes for women and men, when someone says to you, men, when a woman says to you, well, what kind of qualities do you like in a woman? What kind of woman are you looking for? Don't answer that. Don't answer that, beloveds. I'm telling you, Black men, don't answer that. And the reason you don't answer that is because if you sit there and give a play-by-play list of the things you want, need, and look for in a woman, well, the person you're giving this information to is just going to pretend to be all of the above. That's what they're going to do. They're going to pretend to be all of the above. That'll be their representative. And then later on down the line, honey, you find out that there's none of that. They're none of what they pretended to be. Okay, so don't ever answer that question. That goes for Black women too. If a man asks you, well, what kind of man are you looking for? Say what now? Don't answer it. All right, don't answer it. Because all they're going to do is sit there and pretend to be this, Captain Save-A-Ho, right? That they do this, that, and the third, and they're so kind and considerate and thoughtful. They're going to be bringing you flowers, sending you love songs, telling you all you want to hear. And then 6 to 9 months later, when the real them shows up, you're like, who the hell is this? All right, so don't answer those questions, honey. I never answered those questions when anybody have ever asked me that in my life. When a man has ever asked me, what kind of men do you like? What kind of man? What is it about? What kind of qualities do you like in a man? I never told them. Because I already knew where that conversation was going as far as they were concerned. They just wanted to know so they could pretend to be all of it. And in fact, they were likely none of it. Because here's the thing. I want you to pay attention. When a person is genuine, true, and authentic, they don't have to ask you what kind of man or woman you want. You know why they don't have to ask you that? I'm so glad you asked. Because most of us have common sense enough to know that when entering a relationship, we want someone who we're attracted to. We want someone who's kind, considerate, and thoughtful, someone who's honest, someone who has our back, someone who has goals and ambition and integrity, and all of those things. That's what we just automatically know that most people want. So if somebody's sitting there asking you what you want, honey, they're just asking you, honey, so they can get the ups on you. All right? Another thing for you to remember is that in any relationship, the person who cares the most is absolutely at a disadvantage. All right? And that's facts. The person who cares the most is at an absolute disadvantage. Never let someone think that they mean more to you than you, in fact, mean more to them. Okay? Than you mean to them. Don't let someone think they mean more to you than you mean to them at the end of the day. All right? Because that's what gets you messed up. Now, with that all being said, Aeon said, good hygiene, please. Yes, honey. That goes along with appearance. Okay? That's part of your appearance as far as I'm concerned, honey. All right? But absolutely. So, Pearl said, let the truth be told. Thank you, Queen. Some people need to hear this. Thank you, beloved. All right? Black Women Stand Up said, powerful truth. James Brown said, speak on it, Queen. You are righteous. Thank you, beloved. So with that all being said, honey, I love you all to life. Enjoy the rest of this lovely day. Do something productive and constructive, never destructive, right? Uplift someone today if you can. Tell someone something kind. It doesn't cost you anything. And at the end of the day, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. And I hope to see you all this evening for your daily vitamins. Until then, beloveds, I will talk to you all again soon. Peace.
In order for you and me to devise some kind of method or strategy to offset some of the events or a repetition of the events that have taken place here in Los Angeles recently, we have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain, stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put two dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Tamir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man will go nuts if he cash you. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
Queen.
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
AHMADYYYAH.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
AHMADYYYAH.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
AHMADYYYAH.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
AHMADYYYAH.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
I'm getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
AHMADYYYAH.